Hey, 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 garage fans. Welcome back to my girlfriend's garage. It's very nice in here, and it's very sunny outside. But it's also -3, so I think we'll be staying in here. Monday, January 13th. I got up to a lot over the weekend. I'm kind of tired today, but that's okay because I got a lot done this weekend. This is my painted front subframe, all cleaned off and painted. Steering rack got cleaned up. Bell housing, trans cross brace, all these little brackets got painted. Sway bars got painted. Panhard bar got cleaned. Rear suspension arms got cleaned. Stabilizer bar and torque arm all got cleaned. There's the old suspension and takeoff, clutch and differential parts sitting over there. Brake calipers and mounts all got cleaned. Rotors just need to be brake cleaned off and they're good. And then I got the hubs there as well. They're ready to reinstall. What else? I got my rear diff carrier here. Got the new bearings installed. And that is almost ready to go in the diff or the axle, which is up here. And also got painted. More on that later. Here's all my clean engine parts. Oil pan, pickup, valley cover, valve covers. There's some brackets in there, the front and rear main covers. All that is clean. And here's my internal engine parts. All the pistons and the main caps and all the hardware is all clean as well and greased up with some WD-40. Here's the new bearing that I got to finish that we'll talk about. I got the ring gear on the differential as well. And also, I acquired myself a cam bearing installation and removal tool. So, we did a lot this weekend. And all of that is major thanks to, shout out again, state champion, fellow coach, Mitch V. Did all of this stuff in Buffalo at his place. And he stepped up major hard and just cleaned parts with me. I was like, dude, and then he bought me lunch too, so it was just ridiculous. Yeah, all this stuff is cleaned up and ready to go. Thanks to him, got it all done at one place. Super convenient. And that leads me to my plans for the rest of today and this week. It's pretty much time to start installing stuff, which is kind of scary, but also awesome. I've got some stuff done in this axle already, which I'll show you, but it makes for a kind of pick your adventure sort of deal, because there's coming up on lots of options what I can do next. My fuel pump is on its way. That should be here today. I've got one more piece of suspension. This is for the front, and this is for the rear, and I've got the front one coming as well. Some sway bar bushings. The shocks are here. The only thing that I have left to do with the rear diff is get this pinion bearing pressed the rest of the way on. You can see it needs to slide down about, I don't know, a centimeter or so. So I need to get a piece of tubing that will slide over this pinion here and then touch just the inner race of this bearing so I can push it on without messing up the bearing, because the rollers need to stay free floating. And then that will eventually go in here with the hardware that's on it. And then down here there's a new seal as well, so I'll get that punched in here, which I can do because this is on. Wait, actually I gotta wait to get the bearing in there first. But I got a new race installed here, a new race installed right here. I got new axle bearings in there. Let's see if it can see it better this side. New axle bearings, yeah, right there. Spin, spin, spin on both sides. New seals on both sides. And then I got my e-brake slash rear brake hubs remounted as well, because I got those clean too. So when I say all that, it sounds like a lot. I'm feeling kind of lazy today because I slept in and I'm just kind of tired, but I am super stoked actually because I got a bunch of stuff done this weekend, so it's looking really good around here. And the kind of next step on that, so I've got my axles done over there as well. I need to get this pinion bearing on, and then I can set the diff up and then check the backlash and the tooth pattern, the wear pattern of the teeth on that. And then that'll effectively be ready to install. So that unit will be pretty much done. I can knock the cam bearings out of the engine and take out the freeze plugs, then that's ready for cleaning. The pistons are done now, so I can put my freshly gapped rings on there. I can start putting stuff on my subframe again. I've got my brake lines here which need to go back on. And then I can start putting on all of the brake components and my new shocks as well, along with the springs that are in the red box. My oil pan is also clean, so I can start putting this stuff in, which is a whole bottom end kit, which consists of a windage tray and a baffle kit. I have to wait to do the, I guess I have to wait on the windage tray and the crank scraper, but I can install the baffle kit in the oil pan, because that is clean now. So, as you can see, and I can also go in the car and start messing with the nitrous system as well. So as you can see, I've got a lot of options here, and my fuel pump is on the way, and my fuel rail is on the way too. So everything is really coming to a point where it's just going to start going together. Obviously a lot left to do on the engine still, and a lot left to do up in the interior, but the stuff from underneath is going to start falling together, and I'm going to start digging into these boxes a little bit as well. So I think I'm just going to talk about the parts as I get to them. Like most of this stuff here is to do with the engine, except for like the shifter handle, the roll control, and this these gauges right here. But all this other stuff is engine parts. So I'm going to leave that until we start working on the engine. And I think I'll just talk about the parts that I'm installing new as I install them, and then we'll have a full episode about engine goals and horsepower and stuff as well once I get to that point. We'll talk about the rear end when I install that. I've got a new rear plate brace, everything girdle from TA Performance, and all that stuff. So I think what I want to do now, I guess another cool thing from TA Performance is, so these are the main caps in the rear diff. Normally these are held on with 2 bolts, and I got this stud kit so it'll strengthen the whole thing, and then this girdle has tightenable braces on the inside that I'll highlight when I install that as well, so that's going to be really fun. But all that being said, I think what I'm going to start with is well, I'll put this back on so it doesn't get lost. And then I think I'm going to put the piston rings on the pistons and set them aside so they're ready to go. I'll set the main bearings aside, and then I'll pull the seals out of the stuff that's in there, set that stuff aside, and then put the baffle in the oil pan, and then I can have that ready to reinstall eventually as well. So I'm going to start picking away at a couple little things here. I think eventually I want to get the brake lines back on the subframe there, and then start working on the suspension as well. Probably put the I'll put the rear. I got to put the rear shocks in before the axle and the suspension arms go in. So I might unbox all of my shocks here and get the Ohlins I'm thinking ATVs. Get the Bilsteins installed on the rear and maybe on the front as well, or at least get the fronts assembled with the new springs. The rear springs sit right here and go up into the rear of the car, but the front springs are all self-contained on the shocks, so I might get those assembled today as well. So lots of talking, but lots of stuff to do as well. So I'm also going to run this bad boy across here and get all this stuff off, so that's ready to go too. So I think I'm going to put the phone down and get to a little bit of working, clear off my counter a little bit, compartmentalize some stuff, and maybe unbox a few things as well. So I'll come back at you when there's some action. Peace. Hey, Camaro fans, garage addicts, motorheads, and everyone in between. Things are going well today. I've got my main caps and studs, or bolts in this box with the new box of bearings, ready to install. They're all cleaned and WD'd and set. In this box, I got my cleaned up pistons, all ready to go with the new ring packs on them, new top and bottom rings, or top and second rings, plus an oil ring. Oil retention ring, whatever. So that's all ready to go, which is awesome. And now I've got my cleaned up stock oil pan on the bench here. These are some 10mm bolts. And this is the factory oil baffle. It fits in here like this. And there's a little baffle thing up here, and it kind of keeps oil from flinging up into the crank, and also keeps it kind of localized to this front section here. You can see there's this little, oops, I was aiming that terrible. It keeps the oil localized to this front section here. You can see where this little thing would hang down, and there's a little gate right here that keeps this spot filled as well. But yeah, that's the stalker, so I'll be holding on to that. I don't know if it'll fit on the LT4, but I'm gonna hold on, or LT4, the LS4, but I'm gonna hold on to it for now, not getting rid of anything of that nature. But here is our new piece. It is by, can you see that there? Improved Racing. It is a aluminum sheet metal piece, and it's got 3 trap doors on the bottom. It's for boop, boop, boop. It's a road racing baffle oil pan, so it's designed to keep your pump or your oil sump submerged in oil at all times, and keep the oil from sloshing left to right or front to back under high G turns. So this fits in here like that, matches up with the stock holes. My oil sump will fit down in here, and then as you can see, these little doors, when the oil drains back into the pan through these vents and around the sides, it flows into the middle, and then it can't flow backwards because these doors will swing shut under positive G loads. So it keeps your oil sump fully submerged at all times. And of course the oil level indicator, or the oil level sensor, is right here, and it's got this handy little thing to keep it safe. But your oil should never get below probably about here anyway, but this just keeps it from sloshing around when it's going through the engine, because obviously it pumps all the way to your top end and all the way around. So yeah, this piece looks like it fits real nice. So now that my oil pan's cleaned out, I'm gonna go ahead and get this bolted in and set aside, because that part of it is done. I'll have my crank scraper and new windage tray right there, and those will go on the motor when that gets cleaned and the new bearings put in and honed. So yeah, pretty good so far. I'm gonna get this bolted back together. And after that, I think I'm gonna pull these parts out of the box here and pull the seals out and get those kind of prepped and stored for later. Might just put them in here since it's all clean. And then I might see about getting on with the shock absorbers. I don't know. Stay tuned. All right, ladies and gentlemen, got the engine block up on the workbench here, on the tool chest. Pulled it off the stand so I can go ahead and knock these old cam bearings out. That'll be fun. Use this tool right here and get those popped out, and then all I have to do is pull out the couple freeze plugs and this bad boy, and then clean the top of the block as well, the deck surface there. And this bad boy will be ready for cleaning, so that's good news. I got my accessories that are gonna go in the interior. I got some gauges there, some lines for the roll control and the nitrous purge system. I got my Hurst T-handle on my MGW shifter up there. So yeah, that'll be pretty nice. What else? Got the nitrous stuff in the back just to save some space. Up here is all my engine parts. What else? We got the axles stored under here for safekeeping. And I got all these seals. I got the front main seal out, front main seal, timing cover, rear main seal, and the seals out of the valley cover breather as well. I got new valve cover gaskets that are gonna go with the rockers. So all this stuff is clean. That stuff is clean. That stuff down there is clean. All this is ready to go. So that's really nice. I think my plan is to mess with these cam bearings today. Maybe start cleaning the deck surface here and get that ready. And then I think that's probably about it for the day. The Vikings play tonight, playoffs. Woo! Skol! So I'm gonna be watching that. Gotta make some tacos for dinner. And I think tomorrow the plan will be to get these rear shocks up under here. Let's see, the hole is right up there. So we'll get those mounted inside the car, and they'll be hanging down here. And then I think I'm gonna try to reassemble the front struts as well. And then I will get my brake lines. I got them hanging under there. Those will go back on the subframe, and I'll put my steering rack on the subframe. And start kind of loading that up a little bit. My fuel pump should be here tonight, and so then tomorrow we can start wiring up the fuel tank and getting that stuff ready to go. Then I can get my brakes assembled on the front end as well. I'm gonna go back and watch my old videos just to see exactly how I have my little dolly thing lined up, so I know when I get the subframe all loaded up with stuff that it becomes too heavy to move easily, that it'll be in the right place. So good luck, good work for documenting everything, I guess. That'll be good. And yeah, I'll just have to make sure that is positioned approximately correct on my dolly. That way when I start loading all this up with suspension parts and the steering rack and the brake lines and the calipers, the rotors, the hubs, all that stuff, it's sitting in the right place on the dolly, so then I can put these other bricks behind it and stack the transmission on that once I get that far, plug them back together, and then it'll all sit there as a unit eventually when I lower the car back onto it. So should go pretty smooth. Like I said, everything's clean, so that's good. Then after I get my engine prepped and ready, then I can start on the intake manifold. I gotta pull the map sensor off the back. That'll go on here. I think there's two other sensors that I gotta use maybe as well. And then I can start porting this bad boy, which will be a lot of fun. I'm definitely gonna document that because I don't think too many people port these other than just kind of taking off the flashing and matching them up with the heads. So I'm gonna do the runners as well and the whole the plenum floor and everything. So some of it I will have to wait until I get my heads back so I can make sure the ports match up. But I can do the runners in the meantime, so that'll be really cool. I'm gonna document that for sure. And there's my shocks in that Eibach box. So the two of those will slide onto those Bilsteins and then get mounted. The lower mounts are there, and they will slide through these upper bolts there. And those go eventually up through the shock tower, so good stuff. A little bit intimidating. I was kind of paralysis by analysis this morning, but moving along pretty good, and we're just going one step at a time. So we'll get the front end assembled, and then we'll move into the interior, and hopefully the fuel pump and roll control and gauge wiring is pretty straightforward, because then the nitrous plumbing I think should be the hardest thing. So yeah, got some true crime going, but yeah, it's been pretty good. I think that'll probably be it for today as far as action goes. I don't think I'll do any more except get these bearings out, and then if I do, I'll just mount this back on here, and then I got some cleaner, some gasket remover, and some plastic razor blades that I can start getting this cleaned up with. So should be good, and then this will be ready to bring to DRM as soon as I get my heads back in, because then I can bring back that shipping crate as well. So I'll bring back the shipping crate, bring the block to be honed and jet washed, and then also bring my crankshaft, which is chilling out back here, to get polished. So I'll basically only have 3 things to do at the shop, so it shouldn't be too much of a pain in the ass for them, which I always hesitate. I always feel like I'm getting underfoot, even though I'm not, you know, just being in someone else's workspace. So I'll try to make it as as minimal as possible. But yeah, so far so good. Keep wrenching, people. I'll come back at you tomorrow. Go Vikes! Boo!